So, today I wanted to take a look at the tax policies that Mr. Jagmeet Singh is proposing for Canada. Now, as you know, tax is a very contentious issue in Canada, but in the light of fairness, I would say that I'm going to give Jagmeet Singh a fair analysis of what I think about his tax policy. So, what we have here, we're on the ndp.ca website, and we're looking at the tax policy that the NDP would be suggesting for the Canadian economy. So, under the section labeled "Building an Economy that works better for more people," we have a section on a new deal for tax fairness. Mr. Singh and the NDP say in this, to start off with, Canadians know that goods, services, we can all count on need to be funded sustainably. But for too long, Liberal and Conservative governments told Canadians to expect less, cutting back on services while handing out special deals for big corporations and big polluters, and giving tax breaks to their wealthiest friends. Now, in all fairness, yes, taxes are very controversial in Canada, whatever side of the spectrum you stand on, left or right. But to be completely objective with you guys, what a Jagmeet Singh has just said here means absolutely zero. What did he just tout? He said corporate tax cuts for big corporations and big polluters, and tax breaks for their wealthiest friends. Now, I could go online right now as well and say the exact same thing, and it would be just as valid as Jagmeet Singh's two words right here. Because what he just said was just buzz. It didn't mean anything here. Right off the bat, we have some meaningless phrases just to appeal to those, emotional people who see that other people are more successful than them and are like, okay, we must tax those guys for being more successful than us. So let's continue. Now we're going to delve into the meat of the details here. So that was the first paragraph. Now we're going to go into the second. The COVID-19 pandemic has driven these inequalities even deeper. While millions of families and small businesses have been pushed to the brink during the pandemic, the super rich are doing better than ever. Canadian billionaires are $78 billion richer since the first lockdown in 2020 and counting. They're making big money while people suffer. One point I want to put in there before I continue is, what is this issue we have in Canada with people being successful? And then when we hear about people, like even from moderate to crazy success, making millions or billions of dollars, we think that, hey, wow, these guys are successful. Our first thought is, let's beat down their success and tax them more. Now, what is that all about? When did it become that we are in a country that prioritizes prosperity and innovation, that so we can grow the economy and grow our personal wealth as well? And so what I'm saying here is that those people are successful not just because they somehow unfairly beat the system. No, it's because the system rewarded their success. But every time we hear about someone being successful now, we automatically shift our perspective into thinking that somehow they made their money unfairly. We have to tax them. This is very illogical to think like that. And honestly, I think we should change our perspective on this. We have to start prioritizing everybody to be successful, start investing in people, investing in businesses, so that we can grow the economy in real ways instead of the ways we've been seeing in the past 9 years of Justin Trudeau, where we bring in a million immigrants, uh, temporary students, and we say that, hey, the economy is growing now because we put an influx of people into the economy, into low paying minimum wage jobs, and now we are seeing growth. No, that's fake growth. That's unsustainable. And as you can see now, it's starting to hurt the Canadian economy and people. So to continue on, Jagmeet says now, It's scandalous, and it's time to put it to a stop. We believe that those who have profited off the pandemic should be the ones to pay for the recovery, not families who are struggling to make ends meet. It's time to demand that the wealthiest pay their fair share so we can build a better future for everyone. Now, this isn't anything new. We've heard this kind of rhetoric from all the left wing politicians who are talking about tax reform, saying the wealthiest are not paying their fair share in taxes. Oh my God, the poor people are struggling because somehow the wealthiest don't pay their tax. So that means that the poor people in our economy are struggling somehow now, the less well off. Now, tell me, how does a billionaire's success relate to struggling people in the economy? They seem to be two different things to me because there's one middleman in the middle of those two things, and that is the government. The government is responsible for helping the less well off people in our economy. They provide the support that they need, and they can also provide the policy that those individuals need. And on top of that, the government has the capital to support those people and raise them out of their income situations that it might be not so favorable and poverty or wherever they might be struggling or whatever it might be. They have the control. So how come they say, "Oh, let's just blame billionaires all of a sudden for somehow they affect people not succeeding in the economy?" What? We're being charged a 50% marginal tax rate on higher income brackets, okay? That is billions of dollars. And actually, I want to pull up here for you guys to just show you how much money the Canadian government makes from our taxes that are already super high. And I'll show you. So, in 2022, the government made in terms of revenues, the government made $422 billion. That is a 2.8% increase, and that is mostly a result of a $10.8 billion increase in taxes on goods and services compared with the previous years, according to Stats Canada. So there we have it. Those are the guys with the money. It's the government who has the money to change the situation of the people. So the only reason that the government is asking the rich to pay their share is because the government is wants you more of their money. Okay, it wants more of your money as well, and it wants more money from everyone wherever they can kind of squeeze it out of and make it make sense for people who don't want to look deeper into the issue. Just like the carbon tax, the capital dividends tax, the breakdown of income splitting in Canada, all of those schemes that were said to be making the Canadian economy more fair were actually just to line the government's pockets so that they can mismanage your money even more because they have managed the money previously held so badly that now the economy is in debt. The revenue is not enough to support programs in the economy or new programs. And now they're just trying to strangle out dollars wherever they can find it. So that's what Jagmeet Singh is on with the same page as what the Liberals are doing. New taxes, more taxes, higher cost of living, so we can put more money in the government's pocket, fund more unstable bureaucracy, and then mismanage the money at the end. We'll start the whole process all over again, and we'll raise your taxes because we, the Liberals, the NDP, don't know how to manage the economy or your money. So that's a little bit of a spiel there that I wanted to really get out to the public. Is that's what you guys need to know. It's not about taxing the rich for the fair share, they say. It's about just getting more money into the government's pocket, whatever way they can or however they can justify it in a way that will make sense to some Canadian people because it sounds good. It has good optics, but in reality, it's not fair, it's exploitive, and it's also improper and incompetent management. So he continues on here that I'm going to paraphrase a bit that they believe the NDP and Jagmeet Singh that people who made profits off the pandemic should be the ones to pay for the recovery, not the families who are struggling to make ends meet. It's time to demand the wealthiest pay their fair share so we can build a better future in Canada. Now, let me tell you another fact. The more you tax successful people in our economy, the less successful people you'll have in the future, because they will see those taxes and they'll consider it exploitative, okay? And they will leave this country with their talents, with their innovation, and go off to the United States or wherever else in the world that they want to go. Because Canada's policy is so unfriendly that it burdens the businesses that run in this country and the people who run those businesses and the talent and the top talent that earn their money in those businesses, and makes the burden on their taxes so high that they say, huh, I don't want to pay this kind of tax. Let's just go to the United States. We pay less tax and get the same or equal amount of services and more buck for a dollar, okay? And in the end, no matter how much tax revenue you have, nothing will change until the government's management is stable and competent. And the money is held conservatively and spent conservatively. Remember, 50% marginal tax rates are not normal. That is already way too high. We don't need to pay any more. Instead of paying more taxes, let's just ask the government to handle our money more responsibly. Moving on now. Paraphrase again, once again touting the same buzz rhetoric, buzzwords, and everything. We'll protect families and their incomes, force big corporations and big polluters to pay what they owe. We'll raise revenues through new, fair, and progressive taxation sources to make the investments Canadians need to thrive. I guarantee you, if the NDP ever came into power, this country and its economy would be destroyed. Will be then in the hands and at the mercy of the government, because all our money will be going into the government's pocket anyway. We'll be like a communist nation here, okay? And I'm sounding kind of like stark and exaggerating it a little bit, but why I want to really push that point is because if we give government more control of our money and our cash, they let them take more money out of our pocket, and then we leave the responsibility of centralized planning to the government then. And we already know that in Canada, our governments, our provincial governments, are horrible planners, and I wouldn't trust another dime in their pockets. Simple as that. He then goes ahead and says, um, 15% tax on large corporations that made corporate windfall profits that were made during the pandemic. So it's kind of irrelevant now, considering that the pandemic's now 2 to 3 years ago. Makes no sense. This seems like an outdated policy that they didn't care to update because Jagmeet Singh knows he won't be in office ever, so he just wants to, say some garbage and make it sound cool. And then they also, this more garbage here, they want to increase the capital gains inclusion rate to 75%. How much more can you do in this country to drive away talent? Justin Trudeau raising it to 65% was crazy enough. But now 75%, I personally don't even want to become successful in this economy. Because if I do, I have to pay so many taxes that I'm just going to, get drained down and work harder but be burdened and see the fruits of my labor just go into the government's pocket just to have no net benefit for me or the people around me. I know it's for the whole country as a whole, but I know that the government is mismanaging the funds. So I think I've really explained the point there, and I'm going to move on now. So the new Democrat government will boost the top marginal tax rate 2 points, put in luxury goods taxes on things like yachts and private jets, and ask the very richest multimillionaires to pay a bit more towards our shared services with a wealth tax. My God. This is making me sad just reading this. Why do you guys not understand? Increasing taxes does not result in better economic growth. It does not result in a better state of the people as a whole. What really will change the country's management and services and everything we offer is just proper conservative management of the cash we have and just being logical and rational with what to spend money on and what not to spend money on and how to plan for the future. These guys are trying to make you poor. They're trying to make you poor so that you just have to rely on their garbage management governments and their centralized governments so that you don't have any responsibility of your own future. So many corporations do cash on hand businesses. They take cash so that they don't have to pay the associated taxes and they report less than what they make. And I know many people who do this, and I know that thousands of other businesses also do this. This is a very common trend within Southern Ontario. And that's honestly, yeah, it's not allowed, but I understand why. Bloody taxes here are too freaking high, okay? Nobody's paying that. Nobody wants to pay that. And it makes you poor paying those kind of 50% marginal tax rates, 50 plus percent. It's exploitative. Now, I know you socialists out there, you won't like this kind of talk, but it's true. It's true. And I'm just going to end it off here that reading this NDP tax, policy suggestion makes me depressed that there are people in our government who have no idea what they're talking about, but just want to tout a certain perspective or ideology that they stand with, and no consideration for what the implications of what they're saying could be, what they say could be. But I'm going to end it off here. Thank you guys for watching this video. It's more of a different style video I'm making today. I wanted to give more of a perspective on some things I was thinking about, such as policies that are offered by the major parties in Canada. And of course, I had to start off with, sellout Singh's NDP, which he has destroyed the name of this party and absolutely decimated it. Nobody's voting NDP next election, and nobody's voting for the Liberals either. Conservatives are going to take the win, whether it's a majority or minority. Please consider sharing, and subscribing. If you enjoyed this content, also please turn on that bell notification button so you can get the latest content that I post on my channel. Thank you for watching and thank you for the support.